Hello, Daryl here. The channel is Programming in Any Language. The supporting website is www.black-duck.com. You find the videos and PDFs of the code there in most cases. The video is the Anything Database version 2 part 5, Loading the File. Loading data is the process of reading one record at a time and pulling the 8 fields out so they can be added to the respective lists. You'll note that all fields are still padded with blanks, so it's just a matter of using the substring method to grab each piece. One thing you'll note is that first we clear all the lists. Why? Well, the user could press load after the add routine was used, or after the load was used, resulting in duplicates. By clearing the list first, we know that only data from the file will be loaded. Well, we're kind of halfway there, being able to save our data and take a look at it. We actually did the saving routine where we're able to create records and then save them to a file. But we still can't use them unless we write a load routine that's going to bring them back in. So that'll complete a little cycle of being able to hang on to our data. And that's what we're going to do next. We're going to be able to load the file. We're actually working on part 5 here, and we will create that little piece right here. So what's involved in this? Like we saw before, in our hierarchy chart, we're looking at the load piece right in here. Separate from everything else, we're going to open StreamReader, just like we opened StreamReader before. We're going to select our input file and read our records into the list. That means taking that combination, that text file we saw a little while ago, a comma delimited text file, and bring them into our list. And remember, they're already padded with blanks. They're all set to go, so they're in good shape. We're going to display the record count, see how many records we actually have, because when we open the file up, there's 0 records out there. We're going to count them as we bring them in and display that count, and we're going to close the file, and we're all set to go. What does it look like if we break this down? Once again, it keeps it simple because we're not looking at anything else. We're looking at just this piece of the process. That's all we're going to be dealing with is the load portion. What we use in our file, in our form, we're going to be updating the record count. We're going to have a record message too, knowing that the file's been loaded. We're going to turn on navigation if this is above 0. And we're going to use the button load routine here. Everything else in here is going to stay dormant. We're not going to do anything with this thing. So it's a relatively similar process to the save file, a little less to do than we actually had before. So to do this, we simply have to go in here. Let's close this off here and go into our load button here and double click on it and bring this thing up. What do we have? We have a blank area to actually create this thing. We're going to want to bring everything in. So we need a variable to bring in the entire string when we do a load. We're going to load all, put it this way, we're going to load the entire line here each time. Daffy Duck through his zip code is going to be coming in to our record. And then we're going to chop it out based on where these pieces are to put them into the list boxes. So it's fairly straightforward when we do that. We'll be taking Daffy through the comma, then the D, then the DUC, should have a K in there, with the spaces and bring all that in. So let's take a look and try to do this. The first thing we're going to need to do is we're going to need to create up a variable that's actually going to help us do this kind of thing. So we're going to set up a string here. We're going to call it string anything record. Sound familiar? It's like we used in the save file. And I'm not so sure where these comments start. We'll start right about here and see what happens. Read contents of a file to the list record. Oops, I don't want that. We're going to say holds each element of a list record from disk. So it's going to hold the whole record, the whole line. We're then going to go in here and we're going to clear list record. That's going to be a method. What does it do? It doesn't exist yet, as you can see. Clear any records in memory prior to load. Then we're going to set our int record count is going to be equal to 0. Because right now it is 0. There's nothing out there because we're loading. And int record pointer is going to be set to -1. Why? Because we're not pointing at anything. But once we turn on our navigation, we can start using the int record pointer. We'll set up a try, followed by a catch. The catch will be an extension EX, just like we have here. And I want to put those down below. And the catch will simply have a message in it, ex.message, because that's all we're going to deal with here. So we've got this piece. I don't even have this spelled right, do it. Cord, C-O-R-D. There we go. That would be a mess later on. So what we're going to do first is we're going to take this try and create a StreamReader. stream reader, and it's going to be the anything file. And then we're going to open it. Anything file is equal to file.open, open text, anything database.text. That's going to open our file. Then we're going to use a loop, a while loop, as a matter of fact. So while, in fact, let's give ourselves a space here so we can kind of see that thing sitting separately. While anything file dot end of stream is set equal to false, create our routine. So while we're not at end of stream, while end of stream is false, we're not in, while we're reading records, we can do this process. Once we're done, we'll drop out. So it's going to do this process while we have files to read. And what we're going to do is say str anything record is equal to anything read line. So basically going to read our contents of the file, of one line of file, into this little string record we've created up here. Read one line of data. Then we're going to say int record count is equal to int record count plus 1, increment counter. And then we're going to say parse record to database, passing it the str anything record. Call parse routine. Then we'll close the file. We'll display record count. That routine exists. That's nice. We'll clear text boxes. Get ourselves all ready to go. And then we'll set up our user message. LBL user message dot text is equal to data file read complete. And that's it. We've got a couple problems here. We have to create this method and we have to create this method to actually do that. Let's do this one's easiest first. We'll do the clear list record first. So down here, we're going to actually go ahead and create that. We'll say private void clear list record. Wow, I can't spell. That's one of the reasons. There we go. That's much better. What we can do with that, in case there's anything left in the list, way up here, these lists, we need them to be clean, nothing in them. Just in case there's something else in there, there's an error or something, we're going to actually clear those things off. How do we do that? Well, we do the same for each list. And I'll just do them all at once here. We say lst first name dot clear. That clears that list. lstmi clear. Clear, 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 clear. Every single 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, all 8 lists are cleared by this routine. That gets rid of our error up here. So that clears our list. Now we're going to do the parse record to database. This is the part that's kind of intriguing because we need to actually do this to make our records fall into place in our routine. We'll build that one right down here. We could even do it above it if we wanted to. Actually, let's do it right up here so we can see it. We'll say private void parse record to database. String str disk record. That'll create our routine. This one right here. So we're going to take a string anything record which has one line of data in it and bring it past it to this routine, which is going to make a change to it. This is going to parse it all out. So how does it do that? Well, what it does, it takes the last name field, adds the str disk record, this guy right here, the substring of it from 0 to 15. In other words, the first 15 characters are going to get moved to the list first name. Then we're going to take the middle initial and lay that in here. We're going to add it to the lastmi list. String disk record, substring, starting in 16 for 1. We're going to take the last name, add str disk record, the substring starting 18 for 20. What does this look like? We're going through here. We're taking the first 15 characters and we're putting it into the first name field. We're taking this guy right here. Remember, we don't count the comma. We got to bypass this. So 0 to 15, we skip. Then we said from 16, 0 to 15, 16 for 1, we're going to grab this D. Then from 18, we're going to grab this guy. And that's the DUC plus all the spaces here and bring them in. So we're extracting the pieces of this thing, knowing that this thing's all the same size. We know exactly where these pieces are. So that makes it kind of nice. So we can do that with the rest of them. We can take the address line 1 is starting in 39 for 35 long. Address line 2 is starting in 75 for 35 long. City is starting in 111 for 25. State is starting 137 for 2. And zip is starting in 140 for 5. Getting these things right means taking a look at that text file, doing some counting, and making sure you're on the right track. If you make a mistake, easy to fix. You simply change the numbers in your program, make this thing work. But this will actually make it all happen for you. So now remember, we created a record back in our previous routine, the save routine. We should be able to actually bring that thing in now and see our database. So let's do a file save on this. Let's run this thing. Once again, we're looking at an empty application. It has nothing in it. But instead of doing the add this time, we're going to load something. And it's going to automatically go to that file we have in the /bin/debug folder. We'll click it, and bang. Data file read, complete. We have 3 of them. How do we know we have 3? Well, we can go to the top of the file. There's Daffy Duck, and there's my misspelling. We could correct that with edit once we get the edit piece down there. We can go forward on this thing and see Elmer Fudd and Tweety Bird. We can't go any further because we're at the end of the file. We can then go backwards, and we're at Daffy Duck again. So that's it. That's all it takes to load our record. But now what happens is all this data is saved. We can get out of here, come back in again, and do another load. And there's our records again, all sitting there. So nice. We've got our database completed from the standpoint that we can actually see our data, save our data, and add data. We can add, we can load and save, and we can navigate. We've got to edit probably next, so we can make a change to Daffy Duck here and correct this little error we have here. Then later on, we'll learn how to delete a record and how to actually clear the entire file if we wanted to. If we want to blow it all away. That's next. Being able to save and load means we don't have to keep entering data by hand every time we code the rest of this application. And that next piece is edit. Thanks for watching. Visit the website when you get a chance. And please subscribe to the channel. There's more stuff coming every week. We'll see you in the next video. Take care.